Okay, you've heard of No Shave November, right? But today we're talking about No Shame November. It's an effort to end the stigma of substance abuse disorders. And to explain the campaign and how you can support the cause, Megan Dyer joins us. She is the marketing coordinator for Santa Lake Recovery Center. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Help us understand why destigmatizing is so important.
So sadly, many people still view addiction as a choice and not a disease. So that keeps a lot of people from reaching out for help because they're afraid of the shame, of the humiliation, the rejection tied to that.
How did the COVID pandemic impact the epidemic of addiction?
You know, our CEO, Paul Melnick, says it great that the addiction is really a disease of isolation. And I think that we all experienced that during the pandemic. And that number grew exponentially for people who were suffering from addiction. In 2021, according to the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services, there was over 2,000 people who died of a substance use overdose. So we saw that number increase from the years prior, and sadly, it's just getting higher.
If our viewers at home, maybe they know someone who is struggling with addiction, but maybe that person isn't ready for help yet, what do they do?
The best thing you can do is educate yourself, and you can visit websites like ours, santalake.com. We've got tons of resources there. And there's also programs like New Dawn Family Healing, one of our sister programs that offers help for family members and friends of someone who is struggling with addiction.
You guys are planning a big walk coming up. Tell us what that involves and how people can join.
So the walk, this is our inaugural walk. We're very excited. And this is going to be November 12th at 1 p.m. at the Northwest Sports Complex in House Springs. And it's just an opportunity for people from communities across the metro area to get together, stand together and say, hey, those of you suffering with addiction, we see you, we're here for you, and you're not alone.
And how important is it, though, for those struggling with addiction to see these people at the walk, to see there are people who want to help and there are people who are there to support, even if it doesn't always feel that way?
I think when they see people standing together to support them, that really helps them to feel like, hey, I don't have to be afraid to reach out for help. And it gives you kind of a hope for a future.
Do you feel like the stigma has changed at all? Are we starting to get better at seeing this as a health issue?
I think that with the rise of fentanyl and other opioids, it's much more on people's radar, but even in the medical professions, we still see that stigma. So that's why we're fighting so hard at Santa Lake and other recovery centers to really break that.
Still work to be done. Megan, thank you for the work you are doing, and thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate it. All right, the cloudy conditions